After becoming pregnant, my husband became obsessed with his young and delicate secretary. On New Year's Eve, my husband and his secretary, dressed in a red dress, were out with the old and with the new in a VIP room. When I caught them, the secretary raised her pale neck, covered in bright red hickeys. "Oh, Mrs. Hayes, don't misunderstand. The new year is coming, and I'm helping Bobby get rid of bad luck and welcome good fortune." My husband, annoyed at being disturbed, complained, "You're pregnant and can't satisfy me. I'm a normal man. I need to relieve my physical needs, and Lily is just kindly helping." 7 months pregnant, I was so angry that my water broke. But the secretary said I was deliberately wetting myself to embarrass my husband. My husband, disgusted by my humiliation, locked me in the bathroom. After spending 3 days and nights with his secretary, he decided to end my punishment. But later, when he saw my deflated belly, he went crazy. On New Year's Eve, my honey, Mike Green, went out with a group of his buddies to celebrate the new year, while I stayed house because of my pregnancy. As night approached, I received a text message from Bob with an address. "Honey, I have a surprise for you." 7 months pregnant, I hurried to the Grand nightclub to meet him. My heart was filled with joy, but it was soon extinguished. The VIP room was filled with smoke and extravagance. Bob's secretary, Stacy White, was sitting on his lap, her eyes glazed and her ears red. She was both innocent and seductive. Bob's right hand, bulging with veins, tightly gripped the woman's waist, and Lily's dress was already hiked up to her waist, revealing her shoulders. That red dress was a custom-made designer dress that Bob had commissioned when we got married, one of a kind. But now, Bob was secretly using it to seek excitement. The sight of Lily's slender white waist stung my eyes. "Bobby, be gentle with me. Slow down, you little liar. You cling to me 5 times a day, pretending to be innocent." They kissed and caressed each other, oblivious to everyone around them. No one seemed surprised. I guess I knew who sent that text message. Bob's buddies, each with a girl in their arms, watched the scene with amusement. Daniel Dan Smith joked, "That's one hot New Year's Eve outfit, Joe, Bob's wife." No wonder Bobby was willing to ditch his wife on New Year's Eve to come here. Bob hugged Lily's waist tightly, exhaled, and smiled. "Marry a virtuous wife, indulge in beauty. Some positions Amanda Mandy Brown can't handle, so I find someone who can to let off some steam. I know my priorities." Besides, Amanda Mandy Brown has gotten as fat as a pig since she got pregnant, always looking sloppy. It makes me sick. Lily doesn't have that flirtatious charm. Lily's small hand circled Bob's chest, and she pouted unhappily. "Bobby, you're awful. What do you take me for? I'm a good girl, yes, my good girl. Happy New Year." Bob took an expensive diamond necklace from his pocket and stuffed it into Lily's disheveled dress. The girl in his arms giggled. Someone joked, "Bobby, you're going too far. Aren't you afraid Mrs. Hayes will find out and divorce you?" Bob didn't care. What if she finds out? She loves me so much and is carrying my child. Where can she go? Then came their explicit flirtation. My Bobby is awesome. My stomach cramped, and I felt nauseous. My face pale, I pushed open the door. My arrival broke the laughter in the room. Bob quickly grabbed a coat from the sofa and draped it over Lily. I felt a surge of anger and clenched my fists. "What? She dares to ride you in public, but you're afraid of showing a shoulder? Don't talk nonsense." The girl is sensitive. Lily, protected by him, looked at me provocatively. "Mrs. Hayes, we're staying up until midnight. Out with the old, in with the new, you have to understand." Everyone tried to smooth things over, signaling me to give Bob a way out. "Mrs. Hayes, we were playing truth or dare, and we got a little carried away. We'll punish ourselves with 3 drinks to apologize. Please forgive Bobby. I didn't respond. Bob looked displeased and slightly reproachful. Why did you come? I told you to stay at home and rest. My heart felt like it was being stabbed with 1,000 needles. I couldn't believe that the man who had happily decorated the baby's room with me was now protecting another woman and speaking harshly to me. Tears streamed down my cheeks, and I pursed my lips tightly before speaking. Mike Green, you said that those who betray me will die a terrible death. Bob's expression turned ugly. Amanda Mandy Brown, show some respect. Lily and I are just fooling around. You've gotten as fat as a pig since you got pregnant. I'm already being nice enough by sleeping next to you while feeling disgusted. Besides, everyone in our circle has multiple partners. At least I plan to return to the family after you give birth. I touched my belly, and a sense of grief and indignation arose in my heart. After becoming pregnant, I inevitably gained weight and retained water. My legs swelled up like carrots. I got leg cramps in the middle of the night and suffered from morning sickness, unable to sleep through the night. My once fair and delicate skin gradually became rough and sallow. Bob went from being concerned at first to becoming impatient, working overtime at the office every day. Especially when he saw the ugly stretch marks on my stomach, he didn't show it, but his eyes revealed his disgust. For the sake of the child, I pretended not to notice his changes. I always thought things would get better after the child was born. But how could he turn my suffering into a reason to belittle me when I was working so hard to nurture his child? I shouldn't settle for a rotten man for the sake of the child. Mike Green, let's get a divorce. Bob's arrogant expression froze, and his tone was unquestionable. W. Here, can you go with my child in your womb? As long as you two get along, the title of Mrs. Hayes will always be yours. Seeing my distraught expression, Bob softened his tone. Be good and listen to me. I promise only you will carry the Hayes heir. Lily twisted her waist unhappily and said, Bobby, don't make Jo angry because of me. She's carrying your child. Bob pinched Lily's slender waist. That woman won't give birth to a child, she's just being dramatic. Watching the two of them flirt in front of me, I couldn't help but retch. Ugh, ugh. The contents of my stomach came out, hitting Lily and Bob, who were closest to me. Especially Lily, whose coat was covered in sour-smelling vomit, making her look disheveled. Her eyes reddened, and she took off her coat and cursed, Bitch, did you do that on purpose? I was furious and slapped her in the face. Who are you calling a bitch? She angrily pushed me hard. Bobby, you have to stand up for me. The New Year's Eve outfit you gave me is ruined. The waiters brought hot towels to clean them up, and Bob warned me, Amanda Mandy Brown, that's enough. I lost my balance from the push, and my heavy body fell to the ground. My body was bloated, and my struggle to get up was pathetic and ridiculous. The people in the room laughed and joked. Bobby, doesn't Mrs. Hayes look like a turtle when she can't get up? Yeah, a fat turtle, ha ha ha. My eyes stung, and before I could feel embarrassed, I felt a sharp pain in my stomach. A warm current flowed out from under me, and I looked down. The carpet under me was soaked. Oh no! I instinctively cried out to Bob for help. Honey, take me to the Sunnybrook Hospital quickly. My water broke. Bob sobered up. He stood up in a panic, a trace of pity and regret in his eyes. Babe, don't be afraid. I'll take you to the Sunnybrook Hospital right away. Lily's sarcastic exclamation came from beside me. I'm so jealous of Jo. No matter what lies you tell, Bobby believes you. Why? Without hesitation, Bob shook off Lily's slender white hand that was wrapped around his waist, his voice as cold as ice. Get out of here. If anything happens to my wife, I'll hold you responsible. Lily, who had been pushed away, lay weakly on the sofa, stubbornly rubbing her red silk-clad foot against Bob's calf. "Bobby, can't you see? Jo is just too excited and wet herself. She's only 7 months pregnant. She's not due yet. How could her water break?" His buddies shook their heads and clicked their tongues, their voices disgusted. "I heard that pregnant women often have incontinence. It's true. She can't even control her pee. No wonder Bobby is looking for Lily." Bob hesitated to pick me up. He sighed in relief. Then, anger and disgust at being played washed over him, and he grabbed a pillow next to him and threw it at me. "How disgusting. What low-down tricks will you use to get my attention?" "No, I'm going into labor. My stomach hurts so much." He looked at me coldly as I wailed on the ground, his voice sarcastic. "You're a good actress. If Lily hadn't woken me up, I would have been fooled." Lily's eyes were full of joy, and she threw herself into Bob's arms and acted like a spoiled child. "Humph. I'm your smartest little secretary." My voice trembled with pain. "Help me, the baby. Save the baby. Please, someone call an ambulance." Daniel Dan Smith sneered. "Mrs. Hayes is going all out, peeing everywhere and wasting medical resources." Lily added fuel to the fire. "If outsiders find out that Mrs. Hayes wet herself in public, what will happen to Bobby's image?" "Jo, you're so inconsiderate." The smell of cigarettes in the VIP room made my head spin, and my heart was filled with despair. I couldn't count on anyone. Ignoring the pain in my stomach, I gritted my teeth and crawled towards my handbag, which was not far away. My cell phone was inside, and I could save myself. All I could hear was laughter. They kept mocking me. "Bobby, Mrs. Hayes is a GR. Eat actress. She could win an Oscar. Why don't you coax Mrs. Hayes, Bobby? If she keeps peeing, we won't be able to have any fun." I was sweating all over from the pain, and the hair on my forehead was soaked. Ignoring the mockery of these scumbags, I found my cell phone in my handbag, and just as I was about to press the dial button with trembling fingers, Bob stepped on my hand and kicked the cell phone away. "Enough. Are you sick? It's New Year's Eve, and you're still bothering the paramedics." The pain made me unable to straighten up, and I curled up on the ground. "I'm going into labor. The baby is only 7 months old. It's very dangerous. This is also your child. Let me go to the Sunnybrook Hospital." Abnormal pain came from my stomach. I wasn't sure if I had hurt the baby when I fell just now. For the sake of the baby in my stomach, I swallowed my pride and reached out to grab his pant leg, begging him, "Give me the cell phone. I'll call an ambulance myself. Please. This is your flesh and blood." Bob kicked me away, looking at the carpet soaked in amniotic fluid with disgust. I was so weak from the pain that I collapsed on the ground like a dead dog. Bob squatted down, pinched my neck, and said in an even colder voice, "Stop pretending, you're getting into it. If I don't teach you a lesson today, you'll be peeing on my head in the future. Lock her in the bathroom. Have 2 waiters clean up the urine stains on the carpet. It's disgusting." 2 lackeys of lower status grabbed my arms and dragged me into one of the bathrooms in the VIP room. I shouted to everyone in the room for help. "Call 911, please, someone call 911. A young hostess was a little worried and said softly, "Boss Hayes, she looks uncomfortable. Maybe we should stop. She is pregnant after all." Daniel Dan Smith grabbed the hostess's hair and slapped her in the face. "What do you know? How dare you question my buddy's decision?" The hostess didn't dare to speak anymore and said a smile. A few of the more experienced hostesses laughed and said, "You're still young, sis. These are just the tricks those wives use to control men. I bet if Boss Hayes sends her house, she'll be up and running in no time." Lily was extremely smug and pretended to persuade me. "Jo, Bobby is doing this for your good. Stay in the bathroom and clean yourself up so you don't embarrass yourself. Lily swayed her graceful waist and sat back on Bob's lap. She turned her head and looked at me, silently showing off. You lost. Outside the door, there was singing and dancing, while inside the door, I was left alone in misery and desolation. I leaned against the wall and sat on the cold floor, using all my strength to pound on the door. Help! The door was closed, and my faint cries for help were cut off. It felt like countless iron nails were piercing my body, and I recalled the lessons I learned in prenatal classes. The intervals between contractions were getting shorter and shorter, and I slowly adjusted my breathing, trying to rely on myself to safely deliver the baby. Calm down, Amanda Mandy Brown, you can do it. The baby needs you. Tears and sweat mixed, and my throat was hoarse from shouting. The area below my abdomen felt like it was being torn apart, and the air was filled with a heavy smell of blood. I didn't know how much time had passed, but the situation was getting worse and worse. It hurt so much, the baby won't come out. I was panicked and scared, and I bit my lip and felt the blood under me. Trembling, I used my finger to write on the frosted glass door of the bathroom. SOS to attract the attention of the people outside. I put several bloody handprints on the door. Someone who had just come out of the next bathroom was startled and shouted, "Bobby, something bad happened. There are blood stains all over the bathroom door. Mrs. Hayes might be giving birth." Hearing that someone had noticed something was wrong, I felt a glimmer of hope in my heart. Baby, hang in there. Bob, who was drunk, sneered. What blood stains? She must have secretly taken a bottle of red wine in there. The baby is only 7 months old, there's no way it could be born so soon. Let her act. The person was a little scared and continued to persuade him. Bobby, why don't you open the door and take a look? Better safe than sorry. Bob didn't care and said with Lily in his arms, Amanda Mandy Brown has pulled this stunt before, trying to get Bobby to fire me. You don't know her. She's just upset that Bobby didn't spend New Year's Eve with her, so she's making a fuss. The person outside the door didn't insist anymore, and the light in my eyes dimmed little by little. The pain in my stomach brought me back to my senses. No, I can't give up. Baby, Mommy will save you. I took off my coat, used my finger to dip it in blood, and wrote a message for help on it. With all my strength, I struggled to climb onto the toilet and pushed open the ventilation window above, trying to throw my coat down. But the intense pain made me unable to straighten up, and the coat got stuck on the frame. I bit my lip until it bled, and I finally threw the coat down. Just then, my foot slipped, and I fell backward. There was a loud crash. The loud noise caught the attention of the people outside. My vision went black, and I vaguely heard Bob's voice. Amanda Mandy Brown. Hearing the noise, Bob ran over and kicked the bathroom door hard in frustration. He roared, Amanda Mandy Brown, enough. Stop trying to get my attention. It's useless. I'll let you out after New Year's Eve. Be quiet. I wanted to call for help, but the sound I made was dry, hoarse, and barely audible. Blood kept flowing from under me, and despair spread through my heart. To punish me, Bobby pulled Lily against the bathroom door to show off to me. Bobby, leave Lily alone. Joe can still hear us. Lily isn't just any girl. Lily's coy resistance made Bobby even more excited. I looked desperately at the window, praying that someone would find my coat with the cry for help. Bang, 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 magnificent fireworks bloomed in the night sky. The new year had arrived. Outside the door, Bobby said gently, Happy New Year, my little wildcat. He was answered by Lily's even more passionate kisses. Meow, meow, meow. Their intertwined figures were silhouetted on the frosted glass door. Seeing this scene, I kept recalling the past with Bob. I am an orphan. Relying on excellent grades, I received scholarships to college. Bob was 2 years my senior. He first saw me at a campus presentation. I was giving a speech on stage as an outstanding student. Confident, calm, generous, and beautiful. Bob said he fell in love with me at first sight and was obsessed with me. From that day on, he inquired about me everywhere and catered to my preferences. He launched an intense pursuit of me. Bob came from a good family, and I felt we were not on the same path, so I sternly rejected him. But he didn't give up and stayed by my side for 2 years. He pursued me through thick and thin for 2 years. I am an abandoned orphan, and I have received very little love. It was the first time someone valued me so much. I agreed to his pursuit and officially started dating. We strolled on campus and kissed on deserted streets. I knew for the first time what happiness felt like. After we were together, I found out that he was an illegitimate child of the Hayes family, and his mother was one of Chairman Hayes's many mistresses. He cared a lot about his background, so after graduation, he founded a green industry on his own. Bob wanted to prove to the Hayes family that he could create his world without relying on them. I accompanied him in starting a business, working hard, and making the green industry successful. Everyone praised us as the golden couple, a match made in heaven. We were each other's salvation. But everything changed after I became pregnant and my body went out of shape. My pregnancy symptoms were very severe. To rest well, Bob asked me to give up my job and stay at home to have the baby. The child we had been waiting for 7 years of marriage was more important than anything, so I agreed. After I left the office, Bob hired a young and beautiful secretary, Stacy White. I had to admit that she was very beautiful, with the face of an angel and the body of a devil. I first met Lily in the break room of Bob's office. Bob explained, "This little girl is a new secretary, my junior from the same major. She has menstrual cramps and still insists on coming to work, so I'm letting her rest here so her body won't be too uncomfortable." Lily stuck out her tongue. "Mrs. Hayes, I'm sorry. We're all women, so you'll understand me." I felt very uncomfortable at the time and told Bob to be careful. If she had health problems, she should take a leave of absence and go house, instead of lying on a married man's bed with an S-shaped figure. But Bob said I was too sensitive and told me not to be too harsh on the little girl. Pregnant women just tend to overthink. "Amanda Mandy Brown, you weren't like this before." I was anxious and thought it was my problem. But later I found out that he and Lily were getting closer and closer. There were women's slippers that didn't belong to me in the office, as well as women's clothes to change into. There was a pink trinket on the desk and loose powder in the desk drawer. After Bob didn't come house one night, I found a hickey on his neck. I questioned him like crazy about whether he was cheating on me. Bob just looked at my hysteria with a cold expression, as if he were looking at a madman. "Are you done making a scene? If you're done, go back to sleep. I don't want to argue with you. Don't think that just because you're pregnant, I have to accommodate you unconditionally. This is endless." After the argument, he became even more unscrupulous, disappearing for days. He wore lip prints and scratches left by other women on his neck. Others advised me, "Bob has only had you by his side for so many years. Now that you're pregnant, it's inevitable that he has needs. He's a man, as long as he knows how to come house." I had no relatives, and after dating Bob, I had been revolving around him. I realized that I didn't even have anyone to confide in. Everyone only envied my glorious life as Mrs. Hayes, but no one condemned Bob's infidelity to the marriage. Touching the child in my womb, I wavered. I didn't believe that our years of relationship would be lost to a young girl. Torment and anxiety plagued me. I finally chose to lower my head and make peace with Bob. Bob ignored me as always until I saw the text message he sent back. I thought he was willing to reconcile, but I didn't expect it to be just Lily's demonstration and declaration of war against me. How ridiculous! The passionate love of a young man could not resist the temptations of the world. At 20, Michael Mike Green fell in love with me at first sight and was devoted to me until death. At 30, Michael Mike Green held another woman in his arms and was entangled with her. My consciousness slowly became weak. I don't know how much time had passed, but the music outside suddenly stopped. I vaguely heard someone breaking in. "Excuse me, we are security guards from the Grand Nightclub. We just found a bloody piece of clothing while patrolling outside. We need to check on the safety of the personnel. Please cooperate." Everyone there was drunk and confused. They excitedly shouted at the security guard, "Happy New Year!" "Officer, you've got the wrong person. We're all fine, celebrating the new year." Daniel Dan Smith drunkenly grabbed a wine bottle and went crazy. "Officer, my ass, you're just two lousy security guards. Get out." The security guard asked them, holding the bloody coat. "Are all of you here? Do you need to call the police?" Seeing the familiar coat, Bob blurted out, "This is my wife's coat. It's my fault for not staying house to spend New Year's Eve with her, so she's throwing a tantrum." Everyone started condemning me. "Mrs. Hayes has been overthinking things since she got pregnant. Bobby finally came out to get some fresh air, and she won't let him go. It's a good thing the security guard picked up the clothes. If someone who didn't know the situation ran to call the police, that would be wasting police resources by making a false report. Mrs. Hayes is too much. She won't even let the police rest on New Year's Eve. Bobby, you have to discipline your wife. Marrying an unvirtuous wife will bring misfortune to 3 generations." The security guard didn't dare to offend these big shots but was still worried and afraid that something would go wrong. One of them quietly asked a hostess, "Is there anything wrong here?" "No, it's just that the big boss's wife came to make trouble and was scolded by her husband and locked in the bathroom." The security guard suggested going to the bathroom to take a look and confirm my safety. Bob kicked the security guard hard. "What are you?" "My wife is using the bathroom." "What the hell do you want to see?" "Manager, call your manager over, I want to complain about you." The security guard couldn't afford to offend them and could only put down the coat and leave the VIP room. Soon, the music started again, and the atmosphere outside became lively again. My eyes went black, and I completely lost consciousness. When I woke up, I found myself lying in a Sunnybrook Hospital bed. My stomach ached faintly, and I instinctively wanted to soothe the baby in my womb. But my movements froze. My once protruding belly was now flat. I hurriedly pressed the bell and called for a nurse. The nurse who came to examine me looked at me with pity and couldn't bear to speak. "You had a premature birth due to external forces, and the situation was very bad. Plus, you weren't sent to the Sunnybrook Hospital in time, so the baby suffocated for too long and had no heartbeat when we got here. We removed the stillborn fetus in time and barely saved your life. Your body was severely injured this time and needs to be taken care of. Otherwise, you may have difficulty getting pregnant in the future." After Bob and his group left the Grand Nightclub, the cleaning staff found me covered in blood and unconscious in the bathroom. They called 911 and sent me to Sunnybrook Hospital for emergency treatment. And my husband never remembered me, forgotten in the bathroom, from beginning to end. He took Lily to another place to continue his carefree life. The nurse routinely asked about my physical condition and then said, "Your cell phone is broken, so we can't contact your family. Give me your husband's phone number. I'll ask him to come and take care of you. You can't be alone right now. Your wife and child were almost dead, and he's not even here with you." I gave the nurse Bob's phone number, but no one answered. I asked the nurse to help me contact Bob's other number, and after a long time, the phone finally connected. "Hello, is this a relative of Amanda Mandy Brown? She's at the Sunnybrook Hospital and needs." Lily's moans came from the phone. Um, Bobby, it's Joe's phone. Amanda Mandy Brown, are you ever going to give me a break? Can't you give me some freedom on New Year's Eve? The call was mercilessly cut off, and the nurse angrily redialed, only to find that the number had been blacklisted. What a scumbag! Seeing my distress, the nurse refrained from further insults, advising me to rest. Your health is the most important thing. If you need anything, just ring for us. Strangers whom I had just met were more concerned about me than my husband, with whom I had shared several years of my life. My heart involuntarily clenched. The price of seeing a man for who he truly was too high. Before the nurse left, I asked, "My baby, is it a boy or a girl?" The nurse sighed regretfully. "It's a beautiful little girl." Tears streamed down my face, quickly soaking the pillow. "I'm sorry, my little princess. Mommy couldn't protect you." I hired a caregiver to look after me and bought a new cell phone. The first thing I did was text Michael Mike Green. "Let's get a divorce." Michael Mike Green called back almost immediately, and even though he tried to suppress it, I could still sense his anger. Amanda Mandy Brown, a woman who's too dramatic, isn't attractive. Are you making a joke of our marriage? Our baby is gone. My daughter died because of you. Michael Mike Green, you don't deserve to be a father. Michael Mike Green's tone was impatient. Amanda Mandy Brown, enough. Stop using the baby to threaten me. Aren't you just mad that I didn't spend New Year's Eve with you? I'll come house now and stay with you for the next few days, okay? Before I could respond, Stacy White's tearful voice came through the phone. "Bobby, I'm sorry. I didn't realize Joe was so upset." Michael Mike Green dismissed me perfunctorily. "Just stay house and wait for me. I'm hanging up now." Before he hung up, I faintly heard the sound of a plastic wrapper being torn open. I couldn't help but throw up. It was disgusting. The doctor said I couldn't be discharged yet. I decided to stay and recuperate. The next day, I still hadn't received any messages or calls from Michael Mike Green. I sneered inwardly, thinking he must be entangled in a web of pleasure. Seeing my unhappiness, Nurse Taylor/Nurse Susan, the caregiver, chatted with me about Sunnybrook Hospital gossip while bringing my meal. "Oh, Miss Shaw, you wouldn't believe how wild these young people are getting. Just now, I passed by the emergency room/ER, and there was this couple. So disgusting. All raw and exposed. My cousin's nephew is an ER doctor, and he said those two were playing so hard they ended up like conjoined twins." As she complained, she placed the meal on the table and casually picked up a magazine, pointing to a man in a photo. I heard the man is some big boss, and the woman is his secretary. "Look, this is the guy, looks all respectable." I immediately recognized Michael Mike Green. With a plan forming in my mind, I immediately called the private investigator who was collecting information about Michael Mike Green's extramarital affairs. "Don't worry, Miss Shaw, we've been following him the whole time. You're getting your money's worth." Nurse Taylor/Nurse Susan, her eyes darting around, asked, "Miss Shaw, is that your man?" She rubbed her hands together, smiling. "I can't stand cheating scumbags. I have to stand up for what's right." I raised an eyebrow, signaling her to continue. I usually just take short videos to record my life. It just so happened that I filmed those two, from when they got out of the ambulance to when they were taken into the emergency room/ER. I filmed it from the second floor. No one noticed, and I got a clear, uncensored shot of their faces. I paid Nurse Taylor/Nurse Susan $100,000 for the video, and she beamed. "Miss Shaw, good people get good rewards." Seizing the opportunity, I called 911. The police sent people to the Grand nightclub/lounge to collect evidence, and I also presented my injury report. However, because it involved a domestic dispute, Michael Mike Green might only be detained for a few days at most. Further action would require me to file a lawsuit. Moreover, Michael Mike Green, one of the parties involved, was still being treated at the Sunnybrook Hospital and couldn't be arrested yet. I wasn't in a hurry. I decided to use the time Michael Mike Green was at Sunnybrook Hospital to gather more evidence. I contacted a lawyer to begin the divorce and asset liquidation. I wouldn't let them get away with what was mine. While I was busy preparing, Michael Mike Green was still lost in his world of pleasure. He thought he was hiding it well. The day Michael Mike Green was discharged from the Sunnybrook Hospital and returned house, I had already gotten rid of almost everything that reminded me of him. All our memories, the Ritz-Carlton ballroom photos, the love letters he wrote me, and the accessories we had chosen together. As soon as he got house, he angrily searched for me. Amanda Mandy Brown, you've gone too far. I just asked you to clean up the pee in the toilet, and you call the cops on me? Are you crazy? Where am I supposed to save face? You even faked an injury report. If you don't go to the police station and explain everything, we're getting divorced right now. When he saw the empty walls in the living room, Michael Mike Green stopped, his expression stunned. Where are the Ritz-Carlton ballroom photos? I turned to face him, answering coldly, I threw them away to make room for your new love. When he saw my empty belly, Michael Mike Green's face turned pale. Honey, where's our baby? I touched my empty stomach, saying sarcastically, thanks to you, the baby's gone. Killed by her father. Michael Mike Green was struck as if by lightning, staggering backward. That's impossible, you're lying. Are you still angry with me? Oh, right, the baby was already 7 months old, premature babies can survive. He rushed over excitedly and hugged me tightly. I'm sorry, babe, I didn't know you were going into labor that day. I'm a man, how was I supposed to save face when you peed your pants in public that day? Please forgive me. Where's the baby? I want to see our baby. Michael Mike Green excitedly ran to the baby's room. He opened the door, but instead of the warm and lovely room we had decorated together, it was decorated as a small memorial. In the center of the wall was a small urn and the baby's ultrasound photos. Michael Mike Green lost control, roaring, that's impossible. I don't believe it. The doctor clearly said our baby was healthy, how could she be gone? You're lying to me, you must be doing this to get back at me. I found it all so laughable. Do you remember how many times I begged you for help on New Year's Eve? If you had believed me then, the baby wouldn't have suffocated to death inside me. What were you doing when our daughter and I were on the verge of death? You were out cheating and picking up women. Michael Mike Green, you're not human. Michael Mike Green stared blankly at me, still refusing to believe it. No, that can't be. How could she be dead? He reached out to touch my stomach in a daze, but I dodged him. Don't touch me, you're disgusting. I handed him the pre-prepared divorce agreement. I have a lot of evidence in my hands, you're the one at fault in the marriage. We'll split our joint property 70/30ths. Michael Mike Green was breathing heavily, looking at me in disbelief. You want a divorce? Our baby is gone, and now you don't want me either? He was agitated, making excuses for his behavior. Joe, you can't write me off for one mistake. We've been together for 7 years, through thick and thin. I just lost my way for a moment. Can't you give me another chance? I promise to fire Stacy White. I'll only be good to you from now on, okay? What was the point of saying all this now? I replied coldly, isn't all of this what you wanted? Michael Mike Green shook his head, his eyes red. No, my intention was just to make you realize the importance of family. I wanted you to quit your job and stay house to be a happy little woman. I was just using Stacy White to make you jealous. I only love you. I scoffed, my eyes filled with sarcasm. You let others call her Joe, Bob's wife, you let Stacy White humiliate me in public, and you slept with her. If that's your love for me, then it's too disgusting. Because I'm an orphan, because I'm pregnant, because I crave love, you hurt me without any fear. You bet that I have no house, nowhere to go, so I have to be at your mercy. Your love is sickening. Michael Mike Green's voice was filled with bitterness, and he held his head in his hands, crying. How could this happen? Why did it turn out like this? I never meant to hurt you. Looking at his breakdown, I felt nothing. Just sign the papers. Don't let things get out of hand. If we go through a lawsuit, it won't be good for you or the green industry. Michael Mike Green couldn't argue. From that day on, he kept avoiding me, trying to get me to change my mind. The matter dragged on for a month, until the paparazzi released intimate photos of him and Stacy White together. For every day he refused to agree to the divorce, I would leak a little more information. The green industry's stock price was affected, and he had no choice but to compromise. The next time I saw Michael Mike Green, the once glamorous Mr. Hayes looked defeated. Okay, I agree to the divorce, but if you sell your green industry shares, you must give me the first option to buy them. He was still the Michael Mike Green the first knew. If he couldn't salvage the relationship, he would at least minimize his losses. He might not be regretting his actions because he loved me, but because he didn't want his scandal to affect the green industry's stock price. And he was even more upset that I had dirt on him, allowing me to take away most of his wealth for nothing. Truth was never questioned, but truth changed with the times. The boy I once loved had become unrecognizable. Okay. I sold all my green industry shares to Michael Mike Green at a price 20% higher than the market value. A month later, we successfully obtained the divorce certificate. With the divorce certificate in hand, I sued Michael Mike Green for intentional assault. At the same time, photos of Michael Mike Green and Stacy White entering the emergency room/ER were leaked online. Domestic violence, cheating, and miscarriage. Each accusation was enough to make Michael Mike Green infamous. Through the evidence continuously collected by my lawyer, those who participated in the violence at the Grand nightclub/lounge that day were sentenced to imprisonment ranging from 3 to 24 months. Michael Mike Green, as the main culprit, was sentenced to 2 years in prison, and Daniel Dan Smith was sentenced to 6 months. And the things he had given to Stacy White before belonged to our joint marital property, so I filed a lawsuit in court to demand compensation. Stacy White's life went from heaven to hell. After the verdict came out, I bought up the large screens at bus stops and shopping malls in the city to broadcast it. Michael Mike Green and Stacy White were notorious, becoming the scum of society. Stacy White changed her name and returned to her hometown to start a new life, but having experienced the glamorous city, how could she be content with mediocrity? She tried to change her life through marriage, marrying again and again, but her life only got worse. With Michael Mike Green in prison, his employees were restless. Partners also stopped renewing contracts, and the green industry soon went bankrupt and was liquidated. I poached the green industry's technical backbone and started my own green industry. Life is a long journey, and my future is still long.